Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the calculator to evaluate a recursive definition for a sequence, which is a little bit trickier. So I'm going to add a new document. I won't save the old one. Put in a calculator page, and we're going to start by defining our function. Here's where it gets a little different. Instead of just typing in the function here, because it's not just a function of n, we're going to have to use what's called a piecewise function. So in order to do that, you're going to name your function. I'm going to call this one u of n instead of b of n, just because we already used b. And then put an equal sign. Now here, I can't just type in the recursive definition that is given to us. Instead, I'm going to have to go click on this button next to the 9, which has a bunch of different templates in it. And you'll see about halfway across the first row, there's a curly bracket. You can see where my mouse is circling. This curly bracket with a bunch of boxes in it. This is the one we want. The first term, and I'm again using the one that was from our notes, the first term has to be defined first if you're using a recursive definition. And so here it told us that the first term was 5, so I'm just going to write 5 right there. And then comma, and the comma was already there, was part of the template. In this second box, you're saying when is the value of the term 5. Value of the term is 5 only for the first term. So when n equals 1. Remember, n is the number of the term that you're dealing with. So when the term is number 1, the value is 5. When the term is anything other than 1, so the second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term, that's when you'll use the formula that they gave us. So in this second line, this is where we put in the formula. The formula was 2 times the previous term plus 3, if you remember from our notes. So 2 times the previous term, which here is going to be written as u of n minus 1. And then plus 3. And just be careful with the parentheses, right? Make sure that every open parentheses has a close somewhere else. And here we have to define that this is the formula that we'll use for all terms after term 1. So when n is greater than 1. So if n is 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, because you're trying to find the second or third or fourth or fifth term, the calculator will plug right into the formula. If you're trying to find the first term, well then the calculator knows the value is just 5. So that's what a piecewise function does. It sort of defines 2 different areas of input for the calculator. Now I'm going to hit enter. It's stored this, and I can now evaluate any term. So u of 1, first term, u of 2 would be the second term, u of 3 would be the third term, and so on. So now if I needed to get a high term value, like the 20th term or the 50th term, I can actually just type in 20, and it's going to plug it in. You see how quickly this function got really, really big. So if you're going to use a recursive definition to find a high term, like the 20th term or the 50th term, you will need to use the calculator. Otherwise, it'll take you all day to start from the first term and work your way all the way up to the 20th term, because recursive definitions are based on the term that came before it. So if you have the calculator, if it's on a calculator section of the test, this is a pretty useful tool to know. And that's it for this video.